Sandra Bullock's adopted son transformation is turning heads. I kept coming back to one thought while reading this story. Hollywood gives us plenty of fairy tales, but this one didn't begin on a red carpet. It began inside a hospital, where a tiny baby fought for his life before anyone even knew his name. And somehow, that little boy would end up calling Sandra Bullock Mom. Most people know Sandra Bullock as the woman who could make you laugh one minute and have you crying the next. She's won an Academy Award, starred in some of the biggest movies ever made, and spent decades as one of America's favorite actresses. But if you ask Sandra what changed her life the most, I don't think she'd mention Speed, The Blind Side, or even that Oscar. She'd probably tell you about a little boy named Louis. What's interesting is that Sandra never seemed obsessed with becoming famous. She was born on July 26, 1964, in Arlington, Virginia, into a family where music filled almost every corner of life. Her father worked as a voice coach, while her mother was a respected German opera singer and teacher. Because of her mother's career, Sandra spent much of her childhood traveling between Europe and the United States. Imagine being a kid constantly moving between countries, hearing different languages, adjusting to different schools. Looking back, it almost feels like that childhood quietly prepared her for everything that came later. She learned early that home wasn't really a place. Home was the people who loved you. That idea would eventually define her entire life. Of course, none of this guaranteed success. Sandra arrived in New York with the same dream thousands of young actors carried. She worked small jobs, attended auditions that went nowhere, and wondered more than once whether she should simply give up. I always find this part refreshing. When we think about movie stars, it's easy to imagine they were destined for greatness from the beginning. Sandra certainly wasn't. For years, she was simply another actress waiting for someone to notice her. That finally changed in 1994. Speed exploded into theaters. Playing Annie Porter opposite Keanu Reeves, Sandra brought something audiences instantly connected with. She wasn't trying to be glamorous every second. She looked real. She reacted like an ordinary person suddenly trapped in an impossible situation. People loved that. Almost overnight, America had a new sweetheart. Then came While You Were Sleeping, proving she could carry a romantic comedy just as effortlessly as an action movie. A few years later, Miss Congeniality arrived and made her even bigger. Watching her stumble through beauty pageants as FBI agent Gracie Hart never stopped being funny. But underneath all the comedy was something audiences kept recognizing. Sandra always felt approachable, like someone you'd actually enjoy sitting next to on a long flight.